Hi. If you are a former Jehovah's Witness and you're seeking to find or to create and establish a good spiritual environment for your family, where serious Bible study, commitment to conversation, and natural generosity of your home and time can be fostered, here are some suggestions that David and I can make. David and I were involved in a house fellowship for about 6 years. One of the goals of the families involved was every home a church, every church a seminary. Here are 6 suggestions for establishing this from your home. The first one is read your Bible together as a family daily. The second is pray together as a family daily. The third is build a library of good books in your house. The fourth is be hospitable, and that would include your children's friends. Sometimes they get neglected, children. The fifth is don't stress over cosmetics of your home. And the sixth is don't stress over making fancy gourmet meals. People come together for fellowship and friendship, and that is what they are going to remember about these gatherings and be built up by. We have a good example, biblical example, in Priscilla and Aquila. And Alexander Maclaren did a whole sermon on Priscilla and Aquila. So I wanted to read you a few things that he says about them in the book Leaves from the Tree of Life. These two had a church in their home, or in their house. It was centuries after their time, before there were buildings exclusively devoted to public worship. So Priscilla and Aquila had some room, perhaps the workshop where the tents were stitched, spacious enough for part of the brethren of the city where they might be to meet in. The meetings may have been small in number and devoid of organization, but Paul has no scruple in calling it a church. That gives us not only a glimpse into the primitive simplicity of the early worship, but puts a stringent question to all of us as to what our homes are like. Fathers and mothers who are responsible for the religious atmosphere of their homes may ask themselves if anyone would see there a house with a church in it. He says about Priscilla and Aquila, because they traveled, a roving life is not generally conducive to depth of spiritual character. But their wandering career did not hurt this Christian pair. They took their religion with them wherever they went, and they spoke about it wherever they took it. If all Christian tradesmen, merchants, and travelers would take a leaf out of the book of these two, what a mighty agency would be called into being, and how society would be leavened with Christian influences. So I thought those were very encouraging words. It is true that if you travel or hop from church to church, you probably will have less stability even in your spiritual walk, because you learn from sticking with a congregation or a gathering of people. So you need that smaller fellowship to nurture and to mentor and to be discipled and discipling. You need the small gathering for that. You need larger gatherings for public worship, that the world can see that you follow Christ and worship. And they supply support and also accountability. It's harder to go off the rails when you have that check in your life of someone who can see whether or not you're going off the rails. The Old Testament model of Israel had daily family conversation and nurturing. In Deuteronomy, parents were told, when you talk to your child, they might ask this question and you should be able to answer them. Weekly Sabbath celebration, which also included hospitality to the extended family and to strangers and neighbors. They had monthly new moon festival and seasonal festivals for even larger gatherings. A balanced yearly calendar that met the family and social needs. Do we have that in our life? I'm going to link to a video that I did called, reviewing a book called Slow Church. And the title was Individualism and the Idol of Efficiency Destroy Community. And the second one was by Ray Franz, talking about JW's big org in contrast with house church ecclesia model of the New Testament.